Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to go over how to install a reflecting pond. So we'll cover what tools you need, what materials. Um, my name is Joey. I'm owner of Molinaro Property Services. We've been in business for 5 years, and I've been in the landscape construction industry for going on 14 and counting. So get ready to sit back and find out how to build a reflecting pond. Depth. If you want to have fish, a good minimum is about 3 feet deep. If you don't want to have fish, then you can go as shallow as you want. To figure out the footer for your reflecting pond, you'll want to add the depth of water you need plus about 10 inches. That'll give you 4 to 6 inches for your concrete and about 4 inches of the first block buried below the bottom or beneath your bottom of your water. We chose to add rebar after the concrete was poured, so we drilled holes and secured them with an epoxy. You can do this while the concrete's wet, but this is just how we chose to do it. Next step, you want to start adding your block. The first layer gets set on a mortar bed, which makes it easy to level. And there's kind of two ways you can go about that. So you can use a torpedo level and level each block, and then double check with like a 2 foot or a 4 foot level. Or you can also set a string line in each corner and use that as your reference for keeping your blocks level, or a combination of both. Once you have a few layers stacked out, then you can fill those blocks with mortar or concrete. If you use concrete, just make it a little bit wetter. That way it gets into those cores a little bit easier than compared to like mortar, which doesn't have an aggregate. Next, once you finish stacking your walls, you're ready to put your underlayment and pond liner in. The underlayment goes first, which kind of helps protect your pond liner from any punctures of like roots or rocks, or in this case, maybe anything kind of pokey left on the cinder blocks. Once you have that installed on top of your pond liner, pretty much standard to have 4 to 6 inches of gravel, which helps protect the pond liner, also gives it an aesthetic look, and then it helps kind of filter debris as well. Next, you're ready to construct pillars if it's for your project. In this instance, or in our project, we're going to have two pillars. So we'll build those out of cinder blocks and make sure that there's room in the middle for a water line as you're building each layer. We went ahead and wrapped the pillars with excess pond liner just to make it look all the same material and more symmetrical. Here we're cutting access through the capstones for the pillars. Um, you could go a little less than this, like 4x4 square, but for us, we like this space, which helps leave a little extra room for some extra hosing to sit underneath your fountain. That way, if you ever go to disconnect it, you can kind of tip it back without it trying to pull on the hose line too much. On this project, we used about 70 bags of concrete between the footer, pad, and filling the blocks. We also used 50 bags of mortar for stacking and filling as well. Total is about 189 cinder blocks, give or take one or two. And the footprint for this pond is the inside dimensions are 15 feet wide or long by 5 foot 9 inches. And that gives the overall footprint closer to like 17 and a half, 18 feet long by about 18 feet. When you're installing your capstones, I like to lay them out dry first just to make sure that everything fits nice. You can make any adjustments back and forth this way or that way, make sure it all looks nice and matches up well. Once you double check that, you just attach them with mortar, or if you poured a larger cap, say with concrete, you can attach it with a concrete adhesive. When filling your joints with mortar and cleaning them, you always want to wipe at a 45-degree angle. This takes the least amount of mortar off while cleaning the surface of your capstone. Wiping down the joint tends to take out more mortar than you like. The only reason you really want to do this is if there's kind of any imperfections that you're trying to fix, anything of that nature. You also want to wipe your sponge once, meaning like you only want to wipe across you only want to take a swipe once on each side. So one side, flip it over the next side, and then you can even do like the thinner, like 2 inch sides as well. But after that, you want to wash it out in your bucket and wipe it over again. Sometimes you have to wipe. And finally, you want to start adding water. You'll need to flush out the water multiple times. So here we're pumping water out while simultaneously pumping it in, trying to spray off the rock and rinse out any debris from the construction process. Generally speaking, the last 5 to 10% of dirty or unclean water is considered acceptable. To really get that last 5 to 10%, it would take weeks to get out, and even then, in that time, the natural pollen and dirt that can be generated just from Mother Nature would probably overtake your efforts in cleaning.